Whoa, check this out. 20 years back, things got wild when these extraterrestrial monsters invaded Earth. Total chaos, right? But hold on, this is just the prologue, and bam! Just like that, it looked like the final curtain call for humanity. Destruction everywhere. Seriously looked like game over. But was it really the end? But hold on. Just when you thought it was over, humanity's last resistance kicked off. Look at this guy shouting orders. Seems like they weren't going down without a fight. Let's see what they've got. Alright, here's the deal. They're saying the only way to finish this fight is through the Dragon Emperor, Karna. Looks like they've found their main target. This is getting good, and there's the big plan. Eliminate the ruler of the extraterrestrials. Go straight for the top dog. Looks like they've got their sights set on that imposing figure. This is it. The final boss fight begins. Listen to that. Let us burn our final flames for humanity. They're fired up and ready for one last epic charge. Everyone's putting it all on the line. This is humanity's final gamble. Whoa, and there he is. The big boss, the ruler of the extraterrestrials, finally shows up. Look at this guy. Definitely gives off final boss energy. The ultimate showdown is about to kick off. Yikes! Look at that grin, pure evil. Power's just radiating off this guy. He's definitely enjoying this way too much. The real fight's starting now. And kaboom! The battle starts with a massive explosion. That's some serious power being thrown around right off the bat. Things just got real, folks. Oof. Looks like that blast hit hard. One of the fighters is already struggling, calling out the enemy. Guess that boss isn't playing around. This fight's gonna be brutal. Whoa, easy there. Lee Dohyok's furious, ready to charge in recklessly. But someone's holding him back. Looks like they need a strategy, not just blind rage. What's the real plan here? Hold on. Karna's already injured. Look at his arm. Someone called him out, but he's brushing it off like it's nothing. It's fine, he says. Man, this guy's tough? Or maybe just stubborn. Okay. Karna's laying down the hard truth. Stopping that monster? Nearly impossible with humanity's current strength. He says there's only one option left. Sounds like they're backed into a corner. What's the last resort? And here's the ace up their sleeve. The Stone of Temporal Regression. Humanity's last hope after 20 long years of fighting. Temporal regression? Looks like they're planning a do-over. Sending someone back. This changes everything. But here's the catch. Only one person can use that stone to go back in time. Just one. So, if only one person gets a second chance, who's it going to be? The pressure's on, and the decision is in. It has to be you, Lee Dohyok. Really? The guy who was losing his cool just moments ago? He's the one chosen to carry humanity's last hope back in time? Okay, interesting choice. Let's see why. So that's the reason. Turns out Lee Dohyok is hailed as the greatest genius hunter in history. Despite the earlier outburst, they believe he's the best bet. Talk about hidden potential. The fate of the world is literally in his hands now. All right? He says it with pure determination. Lee Dohyok accepts the mission. Look at that energy swirling. The Stone of Temporal Regression is activating. He's really going back. He's surrounded by power, making a final vow. In the next life, all of us. Looks like he plans to change things for everyone, not just himself. And with that promise, the regression starts. He's on his way to the past. As Dohyok travels back, his comrades watch, left behind in the doomed timeline. I hope we can. They trail off, placing all their faith in him. This is goodbye for them. And for Lee Dohyok, his journey is just starting. Again, flash. A final, massive burst of energy erupts. That's it, the stone's power is spent, and the future timeline is gone. The journey back is complete. Now let's see where Lee Dohyok lands. And when, and amidst that final blast, the last thought echoes, see each other again with smiles. A final, hopeful farewell from those left behind. The prologue ends here. Now, let's dive into Lee Dohyok's second chance. And just like that, the energy fades, leaving Lee Dohyok's body behind. He's gone, she confirms. The sacrifice is complete. His consciousness has traveled back. leaving his physical form behind in the dying world. This really is the end of the line for them. Now, the focus shifts entirely to the past. Looking down at Dohyak's lifeless form, Karna admits a strange sense of relief. Their fight is over. The burden now rests solely on Dohyak, alone in the past. With their job done, this timeline fades. Prologue complete. Now, let's jump to where Lee Dohyak's second chance begins. Whoa, hang on. Just when Karna thinks it's all over, she chimes in. No, there's still one thing left. One final task before the end? What else needs doing in this doomed future? Talk about a last-minute cliffhanger before we jump to the past. And that one thing left? It's the ruler of the extraterrestrials himself. Looks like she's planning one last, desperate shot at the big boss before the end comes. Going out with a bang. A truly explosive finale to the prologue as we jump fully into the past. Amidst the chaos of that final, desperate attack, one last thought remains as the future fades. There's a long road ahead, a heavy truth for Lee Dohyak, who now carries the weight of the world on his shoulders in the past he just returned to. The prologue is complete. Let the real story begin. And there they go, charging headfirst into their final battle. Let's have some fun, yells Karna, embracing the end with defiance. A last stand against the ruler as their timeline fades to black. That concludes the prologue. Now, let's finally see Lee Dohyak arrive in the past. Beep beep. Aya! Dohyak wakes up to city noise, not ruins. Wait, did the trip back actually work? This place? Dohyak looks around. It's his old Goshawan, the tiny room he used to live in. He realizes with a shock. Did I actually succeed? Yes, he's back. Thank God. Dohyak clenches his fist, realizing he's back at the perfect time. He calculates. 7 months left until then. Plenty of time to get ready. First priorities? Train this pathetic body. He thinks and grabs supplies for the coming outbreak. He knows he needs to get strong, fast. No time to waste. Grabbing his jacket, the thought hits him hard. The lives of 8 billion people rest on my shoulders. No pressure, right? But that's the mission he accepted. Time to get moving. His key goal now? This time, I must awaken along with the first outbreak. He needs to gain powers right when things kick off. No delays like the first time around. That's the plan. The time has finally come. Dohyak stands ready, knowing the exact moment. Just 1 minute and 30 seconds left. The outbreak, the awakening, it all starts right now. Compared to my prime, this body is still far from ideal, he admits. Looks okay, but he knows it's nowhere near enough. Lots of training to do before the clock runs out. He knows exactly what happens next. In 1 minute, a wormhole will open on that rock ahead. The result? A massive mana surge released into the world. That's the signal, the trigger for everything. Almost time. This mana surge? It's like a baptism, forcibly unlocking the human body. That's the awakening process. Raw mana forcing hidden potential out. Get ready for the change. But the wormhole isn't just bringing mana. It's bringing alien scouting forces. And first up for Dohyak in Korea? He knows it well. Gigant ants and quad cockroaches. Here comes the first wave. To his prime self, these bugs were just trash mobs. But he knows the reality for newly awakened hunters. They're deadly. Even 6 of them would struggle to take down just one. This won't be easy. Still, he's counting on his future knowledge. With my experience, I should be able to handle them. Confidence is key. The final seconds arrive. 5, 4. It's about to open. Here we go. He braces, counting down the last seconds. 3, 2, 1. This is the moment. Wormhole mana surge. Awakening. It all hits right. Now, now! Dohyak shouts. Weapon ready. 0 hour has arrived. Let the awakening and the chaos begin. And? He yelled, he braced. But nothing? Dohyak looks around, confused. Did he get the timing wrong? What's happening, right? He thinks, calming down. A 10-second margin of error is possible. Maybe he was just a hair too early. If I wait a little longer. Patience is key. Damn it. Fuck. 10 hours waiting in the rain. And nothing. The wormhole never showed. His perfect memory failed him. What the hell is going on? Something is definitely wrong. Still frustrated, he tries again to make sense of it. No, I must have gotten the date wrong. That's the only explanation. Tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow. He's determined to try again. He actually came back the next day, still waiting. Now random hikers are telling him he looks crazy and to just go home already. Looks like Plan B failed too. Now what? A month passed. A whole month, and still nothing happened at the predicted spot. Dohyak's back, watching tourists admire the stone Buddha. His future knowledge was completely wrong. Now what? So what's Dohyak doing now? Apparently, he's become a viral sensation. The news calls him a monk who's been meditating on the mountain. His sister spots him on TV. Huh? Mom, isn't that Appa? What is he even doing there? He's famous for waiting. Looks like Mom tracked him down from the news. Honey, I found Dohyak. His lonely vigil as a viral monk is over, thanks to family intervention. And so, after that long wait, what happened next? So after being dragged off the mountain, Dohyak's stuck working construction. I'm coming, damn it, he yells, hauling heavy loads. From humanity's last hope to manual laborer. This definitely wasn't part of his grand plan. He can't help but remember who he used to be. Mad dog, fighting demon, genius, god of war. A true legend of the apocalypse. And now, he's stuck hauling concrete at a construction site. Talk about a fall from grace, and after all those other titles? In the end, I was known as the savior. He clenches his fist. The literal savior of humanity. Stuck doing this grunt work? Unacceptable. He needs to fix this. He was the savior, a legend. And now he's just seen as a common laborer after that construction gig. This is so humiliating. He thinks, somewhere in a crowd. How am I supposed to face the others? The fall from grace hits hard. 6 months pass. The unavoidable truth finally sinks in for Dohyak. The outbreak never happened. No aliens, no awakened people. None of it existed in this world. His whole reason for coming back? It was all based on a future that isn't going to happen here. Finally, he accepts it. This Earth is different from the one I knew. No outbreak is coming here. He realizes he must be in a parallel universe. Never thought I'd end up in one myself. What a twist. Walking through the peaceful city, he realizes the bright side. Still, the fact that the outbreak never happened, that's great news for the people of this world. At least this Earth is safe even if his whole mission just went sideways. Looking at the peaceful world around him, he seems to find some acceptance. Yeah, that's how it should be. Maybe a world without an apocalypse is better, even if it messes up his plans. A moment of peace, perhaps, just as he starts to think, maybe I can enjoy this peace, even just for a little while, letting himself relax. Ring. An unexpected sound cuts through the moment. Oh, what's that sound? So, what was that dramatic ring sound? He checks his phone. Oh, never mind. Just a boring bank notification about his loan payment. Well, that was anticlimactic. Back to the mundane reality. And the mundane problems keep piling up. Overdue loans, payment demands. Looks like the savior is drowning in debt in this reality. Back at the family home. Sister calls him. Appa, sit down for a moment. Dohyak sighs. Why again? Looks like another family lecture is incoming, and the family meeting begins. His sister, Li Jian, gets straight to it. Appa, what the heck have you been up to lately? Yeah, he's got some explaining to do. She continues the lecture, showing his weird purchases from last year. Gas masks. Her guess? Don't tell me. You got into a pyramid scheme. Oh, she has no idea. She grabs him, listing his crazy actions from a year ago. Shouting the world was ending, hoarding supplies. Do you have any idea how worried Mom and Dad were? He was prepping for an apocalypse that never came, even back then. Internally, he's fuming. Fuck. I didn't think the world actually wouldn't end this perfectly either. All that prepping he did back then. Now it just makes him look crazy in this peaceful world. Flashback. Karna's advice before the regression? First, borrow as much money as possible. Even from loan sharks. So that's why past Doyak was broke and prepping like mad. Continuing the flashback. Doyak asks Karna what to do after borrowing all that money. Karna's carefree answer? And then? Who cares about what comes after? Since the world was ending. Right? Whoops. That explains the debt. Karna lays out the logic. Once the outbreak happens, the whole world is doomed anyway. Who the hell would still be collecting debts? Sounded smart then, but in this peaceful world? Big problem. The awful truth dawns on him. In other words, I can't just ignore the money I borrowed. That huge debt he took out thinking the world would end? It's real now. And his sister is still yelling. Sister sighs, still thinking he's paying off pyramid scheme, debt with manual labor. Doyak sees an angle. I'll pay you. Just help me out with my streaming. A new plan begins? Streaming? Doyak asks about the weird thing with the helmet. Yup. Jen confirms she needs his help beating a 2-player game for her stream. An opportunity knocks. Her request catches him off guard. Me? But I've never played a game before. The legendary savior, a complete gaming noob? This should be interesting. She waves off his never-played excuse. You were always good at sports. You'll get used to it. Besides, she adds, I don't have anyone else to ask. Looks like he's cornered. He dismisses the idea. How much money could you even make from streaming? Her answer shocks him. 15 million won. Okay, now he's interested. What? 15 million won. Doyak's jaw drops. That's a lot more than he expected. Maybe this streaming thing isn't so bad after all. Hold up. 15 million won a month. And she'll give him half. Suddenly, Doyak sees his sister radiating divine light. Looks like they have a deal. Money's a great motivator, his sister asks. Ready to dive in? With money on the line, Doyak's attitude flips 180. Geared up in the helmet and gloves, he shouts, Yes, master. Game on. Okay, here we go. Jen's super excited, starting the dive into the game and dragging Doyak along as her reluctant helper. But he's never played before. This should be interesting. Okay, they've landed inside the game. Looks like they dropped right into the action. There's Doyak and Jen, ready or not. No time for tutorials here. It seems. Let's see how the newbie handles this baptism by fire. Whoa. It kills too. Ultra hardcore world of terror. Looks like Jen threw Doyak right into the deep end for his first game. From saving the world to surviving this. This newbie's got his work cut out for him. And the game? A hardcore horror adventure notorious for crushing beginners. A real newbie graveyard. Couldn't have picked a better starting point for Doyak. Huh? Let the struggle begin. Alright, the game officially kicks off. Doyak and Jen are in, facing the ominous building. No more waiting, the infamous newbie graveyard adventure starts now. Let's see what horrors await them first. Okay, they're inside, and it's already super creepy. Looks like Jen is getting spooked by the ruins and wants her brother close. Even the viewers watching her stream seem to think this place is terrifying. The horror is kicking in right away. Ha! Look at that difference. Jen is shaking and wants to go slower. But Doyak? He's totally unfazed. Even thinking the creepy place looks cozy. Guess facing real monsters makes a horror game seem like a vacation. The savior isn't easily scared. Okay. Doyak's taking charge, leading a frightened Jen forward like it's just another day. He tells her to follow carefully. The viewers are watching, impressed by his calm but wondering if just walking in is smart. Bold move for a newbie. Let's see if it pays off. Okay. Barely inside and things are already happening. Something just startled them both. Jen screaming and even Doyak looks surprised. Seems this game's intro involves a creepy abandoned house and some family drama. No warm welcome here. The scares start immediately. Whoa, hold on. Tutorial skipped. Dohyeok looks totally confused. He's the one who actually needed that. Dropped into a hardcore newbie graveyard with zero instructions? Talk about rough beginnings. This just got way harder for him. Yikes. Jen is not happy about that skipped tutorial. She's letting Dohyeok have it, furious that he bypassed the instructions for this super hard game. He looks totally blindsided, probably didn't even realize what button he pressed. Tough start for the newbie. The classic acted without thinking excuse. Dohyeok looks embarrassed, apologizing to Jen. Seems his combat instincts kicked in when the tutorial popped up and he just got rid of it. Guess those battlefield reflexes don't quite translate to gaming interfaces. Still a rookie move. Looks like Jen's resigning herself to the situation, muttering it's her own fault for trusting a newbie. The stream chat seems amused by her frustration, though. Well, no tutorial it is. Time to face this hardcore game completely blind. Switching tactics. Jen turns to her stream viewers, asking for tips since they're going in totally blind without guides or a tutorial. The chat starts chiming in. Looks like learning by dying, finding weapons, and searching for clues are the way to go. Crowd wisdom might be their only chance. Okay, Jen's absorbing the stream's advice. Use flashbangs and definitely run from the boss. But the chat's main warning? Don't pick reality mode difficulty. That sounds like seriously important advice, especially for a newbie like Dohyeok. Let's hope they pay attention to that one. Oh, reality mode selected. That's the one difficulty the chat warned them to avoid. Jen looks horrified, and the viewers are shocked. Did Dohyeok accidentally click the wrong thing again? They just locked themselves into the hardest possible mode in the newbie graveyard. This is not good. Jen is absolutely furious now, shaking Dohyeok and demanding to know what he did. His excuse? He just touched a doorknob to check it, and then some weird menu popped up. Sounds like his clueless fumbling triggered the reality mode selection. Another accidental disaster by the newbie savior. Oh, the pressure's on. Jen just realized there's over 1,000,001 bet on them getting the first clear. Right after Dohyeok accidentally locked them into the hardest mode with no tutorial. While she despairs, the chat's eating up this sibling disaster sitcom. Talk about high stakes for a doomed run. Wow, talk about pressure. Right after locking into reality mode, huge mission challenges pop up from viewers. One offers 1,000,001 to clear it in just 3 tries, another 500,000 with no try limit. Big money is now officially on the line for completing this ultra-hard mode. No pressure, right? Okay, look at Dohyeok now. A sudden switch flips, motivated by those high-paying viewer missions, he gets serious. Declaring they can't afford despair because it's an order from the big spenders, he looks ready to tackle this impossible challenge head-on. Maybe the savior is finally showing up, even in a game. Okay, check out that intense look. Dohyeok is completely focused now. The stream chat is joking about how money motivates them, calling them capitalist slaves. But his seriousness is undeniable. Looks like the challenge, and the cash, has finally awakened something in the former savior. Let's see this focus in action. Whoa! First enemy encounter, and Dohyeok just crushes it instantly. Looks like that serious focus wasn't just for show. The savior's combat instincts are kicking in, game or no game. No time to relax. Another enemy drops in from above, making Jen scream. Dohyeok's already turning to face it. Looks like reality mode means non-stop action. After taking down the ambusher, Dohyeok moves to check the body. Jen's still nervous, but the viewers are already giving tips. Search behind it for an axe and a pistol. Looks like it's time to gear up. Found the loot. Dohyeok tosses the pistol to Jen, yelling for her to catch it. But she looks panicked, admitting she's not confident with guns. Looks like the weapon distribution might need some rethinking. Never mind the lack of confidence. Jen grabs both weapons but insists on the pistol, claiming it's her dream to be a gunslinger, even when Dohyeok questions if she'd prefer the close combat axe. Looks like dream logic wins over practical skills for now. Oh, trouble. A huge, intimidating monster just appeared, towering over Jen. That looks much tougher than the others. Could this be the boss they were warned about already? Big test incoming. So that's the neck hugger. The chat confirms this big guy is the infamous newbie cutter of this game. Looks like the first real test of reality mode has arrived. Pure terror. Jen is absolutely losing it as the neck hugger makes its move. Looks like the newbie cutter boss lives up to its reputation. Whoa, what was that? Doyak just blocked the neck hugger's attack with a single hand. Jen and the stream chat are stunned. That definitely wasn't a newbie move. Looks like the savior's instincts are taking over. After the block comes the strike. Doyak immediately counters with the axe, moving fast and hitting hard. No more newbie fumbling. He's taking the fight straight to the neck hugger. Ouch! Looks like Doyak's axe found its mark. The neck hugger boss is roaring, definitely feeling that hit. The newbie's counterattack actually landed, and boom! Doyak follows up and finishes the neck hugger. The chat is exploding. Did he seriously just one-shot the infamous newbie cutter boss? Absolutely insane move from the newbie. Wait, what? Just as Doyak lands after beating the boss, 2 more neck huggers drop in. The chat's pointing them out. Guess reality mode means the newbie cutter comes in pairs now. No time to celebrate, not even breaking a sweat. Doyak grits his teeth, facing the 2 new neck huggers. No shock, just pure focus. Looks like he's ready for round 2. Or 3. Bring it on. 2 at once? Doesn't seem to bother him. Doyak expertly dodges the simultaneous attacks from both neck huggers, axe at the ready. His combat experience is shining through. He's moving like a pro, and it's done. Doyak takes a breath amidst the wreckage of both neck huggers. Jen looks stunned, and the chat is just completely bewildered, asking what they even just saw. Absolute domination from the newbie. That smirk. Doyak looks pretty pleased with himself after that effortless beatdown. He seems to be enjoying just how surprised everyone is. The clueless newbie act is definitely crumbling fast. Whoa! Gunfire. Looks like Jen decided to embrace her gunslinger dream, after all. Screaming as she fires the pistol. Even Doyak seems a bit surprised by her sudden, panicked action, and she shot Doyak. Friendly fire takes him down after he cleared all those bosses. Mission failed. Jen's horrified, apologizing for her mistake. Talk about an anticlimax. Looks like the real boss was friendly fire all along. The stream chat is absolutely loving this. They're calling it an epic comedy, laughing hysterically at the mission failed, caused by friendly fire right after Doyak's amazing boss kills. What a wild ride for the viewers. Looks like word of Doyak's insane boss kills is spreading. Someone outside the game is reacting with pure disbelief, defeating the infamous neck huggers that easily? It seems impossible. His newbie performance is clearly making waves beyond just the stream. Even the pros are shocked. Horror game expert streamer Black Oak admits he can barely handle 2 neck huggers at once on reality mode. That really puts Doyak's seemingly effortless boss clears into perspective. What he did was truly insane. Expert streamer Black Oak is still blown away, trying to compute how that player demolished multiple neck huggers so easily with just an axe. He's so stunned he's already forgetting the name and trying to look him up. This newbie definitely made an impression, and they're back at the start. Looks like they hit restart after that friendly fire fiasco. Round 2 begins, loading back into the creepy entrance. Let's see if attempt number 2 goes any better. Back at the start, and if looks could kill. Doyak is clearly furious about that friendly fire incident. Jen keeps apologizing, but the stream chat notices how pissed he looks. The epic failure might have soured his mood for round 2. Wait, a change of heart? Doyak isn't angry anymore. He tells Jen it's okay, even saying the mistake was his. Jen looks surprised by his calm response. Maybe attempt 2 will start off better after all. Spoke too soon. The calm didn't last. Doyak's frustration resurfaces as he pokes Jen, grumbling he shouldn't have given a gun to a dimwit. Jen apologizes again, promising to improve. Guess the friendly fire still stings. New strategy. Doyak takes charge. He tells Jen there's no next time for her actions. She just needs to follow him closely because they're speeding through this attempt. Jen looks annoyed at being sidelined, muttering for him to see how he fares alone. Looks like Dohyak's going solo this round. He wasn't kidding about going fast. Dohyak suddenly bursts forward at incredible speed, dragging a bewildered Jien along for the ride. Looks like attempt number 2 is going to be a blur. Already done. Dohyak stands calmly, axe buried in the boss, proving he can handle things quickly. Jien looks hesitant, still catching up, while the chat jokes about her nervous energy. Looks like his speedrun approach worked flawlessly this time. Okay, with that section cleared thanks to his speedrun, Dohyak's already thinking ahead. Time to get organized, he says, suggesting they divide roles properly for the next chapter. Looks like he's taking the lead on strategy now. Jien looks surprised by Dohyak's sudden talk of strategy. Roles? She seems to ask. After being told just to follow while he demolished everything, she's probably wondering what role he expects her to play now. So the role division plan is Dohyak does everything? He assigns himself firearms, close combat, item farming, and scouting. Jien is left completely confused, wondering what that leaves for her to do. Oh, and Jien's role? Cheerleader. Dohyak tells her to just stay quiet and focus only on cheering him on. After claiming every other task, he's put her squarely on the sidelines. Well, that's one way to divide roles. And Jien's not happy with the cheerleader role. She's protesting loudly. It's her game and stream. How can she just stand by and cheer? The chat finds her outburst amusing, but Jien clearly wants to do more than just watch Dohyak play. Ignoring Jien's complaints about being just a cheerleader, Dohyak heads straight for the next door. She calls out for him to wait, scrambling to keep up. The chat's hyped and ready for whatever comes next. Onwards they go, into the next area, and bam! Meet the mid-boss. The brute. Big, mean, and roaring, blocking their path. Another tough fight straight away for Dohyak. The brute shows up and Jien totally panics. She screams and lands a solid punch right on Dohyak's face. So much for staying quiet and cheering from the sidelines. Ouch! Still reeling from that punch, Dohyak snaps. He yells furiously at Jien while the brute mid-boss looms large. Dealing with a panicked sister and a tough monster at the same time. This is chaos. Dohyak's busy fighting the brute. But wait! The chat's already laughing about another team kill? Did Jien somehow manage to hit him or interfere again, even after being told just to cheer? Oh, this sibling dynamic is wild. Ignoring the distractions, Dohyak focuses back on the brute. He lands a heavy blow, demanding the mid-boss fall. Looks like he's determined to end this fight quickly. Down it goes. Dohyak follows up immediately on the fallen brute, landing a powerful axe strike. Looks like a finishing blow. Mid-boss defeated. Just like that, axe retrieved from the fallen brute. Dohyak looks unimpressed, thinking this game boss is nothing compared to the real monsters he used to fight. For the savior, this hardcore game might just be target practice. A piece of cake. Dohyak finishes his thought as he yanks the axe free. Compared to the real deal he faced, this game's mid-boss was nothing. Confidence radiating from the savior. Wait, it's still standing. Dohyak's piece of cake. Finishing move didn't work. The chat pipes up. Apparently, you can't hurt the brute's muscles with an axe. Looks like the normal strategy is just to run away. Game mechanics just shut down the savior's confidence. So the axe didn't work? Dohyak looks determined, not defeated. If the standard attack fails, he seems to be thinking, he'll just have to find another way. He's not giving up that easily. If the axe doesn't work, he'll make it work. Dohyak stands over the fallen brute, radiating pure determination. Looks like game mechanics mean little when the savior decides something needs to die. Pure force of will, and the brute is history. Dohyak finished it off, somehow overcoming the axe resistance. The chat is amazed, wondering how he got rid of it when the axe shouldn't have worked like that. Donations are coming in. This newbie keeps breaking expectations. Jien is absolutely floored. Just like the stream chat, she's completely speechless, unable to comprehend how Dohyak just demolished the brute like that, seemingly ignoring the game's rules. What is she witnessing? The chat's still buzzing. Apparently, taking down a brute with just an axe is unheard of. Dohyak looks genuinely confused by their reaction, asking why it's such a big deal when it seemed pretty easy to him. The gap between his combat reality and game logic is huge. The chat is getting suspicious after that display, asking if Dohyeok is really a newbie. Jen jumps to defend him, insisting he is. But the viewers aren't convinced and challenge them to prove it by showing his status window. The newbie act is under scrutiny. Alright, moment of truth. Responding to the chat's demand, Dohyeok reveals his status window. The play history for this game? Only 0.6 hours. Looks like he really is a newbie, just like Jen said. So how on earth is he playing like a pro? The mystery deepens. Just when the low playtime seemed to settle things, the chat spots another detail. Status? 134. That number triggers immediate shock and confusion. 134. That doesn't sound like a beginner's stat at all. What does that number even mean? The mystery continues. Context for that shocking 134 status. The chat explains. Pros start around 125, and 140 is considered the human limit. So Dohyeok's starting stat is insanely high, near record-breaking levels, despite his 0.6 hours playtime. No wonder he found the bosses easy. He's practically superhuman from the start. Forget the overall status. Look at the details. Balance, equilibrium, coordination, everything is ranked in the top 0.01%. The chat is losing their minds, asking if he's even human. No wonder he moves like that. His physical stats are literally off the charts. The explanation. Dohyeok notes his apocalypse training came in handy. But Jen's still stuck on her theory, wondering how badly that pyramid scheme must have worked him to get those stats. The gap in understanding is huge. The misunderstanding continues. Jen, thinking Dohyeok suffered terribly in that pyramid scheme to get his physique, tearfully promises to treat him better now. Dohyeok is completely baffled by her sudden wave of sympathy. Talk about wires crossed. Whoa, attention from a pro. The famous horror streamer Black Oak just donated, calling Dohyeok's gameplay impressive. Jen looks starstruck, recognizing the name. He's a big deal in this game. Looks like Dohyeok's skills are attracting some serious notice. Hidden route. Dohyeok picks up on the chat's comment about Black Oak. A viewer explains, normally the brute is supposed to capture players to advance the story. By defeating it instead, Dohyeok accidentally stumbled onto the difficult hidden path, the one the pro streamer found. Interesting. More context on that hidden route. The chat remembers it took the expert Black Oak himself a hellish, tearful 7 attempts to barely kill the brute the first time. And Dohyeok just waltzed through it easily on his first try? This newbie isn't just good, he's making pros look like amateurs. Hearing the pro took 7 tries, Dohyeok just thinks, guess not everyone's good at games. Still totally unaware of how good he actually is. Ouch! Looks like Dohyeok's innocent comment about Black Oak maybe not being good at games hit a nerve. The expert streamer seems pretty offended, while the chat finds the whole situation hilarious. The pro got unintentionally dissed. The expert streamer, Black Oak, is analyzing the situation. He acknowledges that for someone who's supposedly never even done a proper VR dive before, taking down the brute boss with just an axe is incredibly impressive. He recognizes the sheer skill involved. Expert streamer Black Oak is intrigued. He only meant to watch for a moment, but Dohyeok's bizarrely skilled gameplay is so captivating, he's now thinking he needs to make content about it himself. This newbie is definitely creating a buzz. The plot thickens. Black Oak donates again, asking if he can set up a mission for Dohyeok. He wants to stream the attempt. Looks like the expert wants to test this mysterious player live. A mission from Black Oak? Jen looks surprised and asks what kind of mission the famous streamer wants to set. Looks like things just got even more interesting. Here's the mission from Black Oak. Clear the entire game using only the hand axe. The reward? A cool 1,000,001. Talk about a challenge tailored to Dohyeok's surprising axe skills. 1,000,001. Jen is freaking out with excitement over Black Oak's huge mission reward. Dohyeok seems less impressed, but that's some serious motivation for this axe-only challenge. About that axe-only challenge, the chat points out this game features all sorts of monsters, not just humanoids. Makes you wonder how effective just an axe will be against everything. The Million-1 challenge might be tougher than it sounds. Mission revision. Black Oak backtracks slightly, thinking axe only might be too harsh. He suggests maybe a steel crowbar or a chainsaw instead. Still a melee challenge, just with slightly different tools. Whoops! Dohyeok strikes again with the accidental button press. He meant to accept Black Oak's axe-only mission, but somehow hit the success button instead. Jien is freaking out. Another classic Dohyeok UI blunder. Pressed the wrong button? No problem. Dohyeok declares he'll succeed in the mission anyway and blasts forward, dragging Jien along again. Time for another speedrun, fueled by accidental commitment. Next opponent. Mid-boss number 2, Egrand, wields a chainsaw and rips players apart at high speed. Looks like another tough fight ahead. Dohyeok analyzes the new threat, Egrand. He notes the chainsaw arm deals devastating damage even on a graze, and its attack patterns are complex. This boss looks like serious trouble. Dohyeok considers the usual strategy for Egrand: nerve bullets to slow it down while others hit weak points. A typical team tactic. But since he's basically solo and only using melee, that plan's out the window. Dohyeok confirms his thoughts. The official strategy for Egrand relies on teamwork, managing aggro between 2 players. That's definitely not going to work for his solo, axe-only run. He needs a different plan. New plan. Just ignore the boss. Dohyeok uses blinding speed to bypass Egrand completely, maybe even using the boss as a stepping stone. Who needs strategy when you have speed like that? Set strategies? Nonsense to Dohyeok. He thinks back to the apocalypse. If they lacked weapons, they fought with their teeth. That brutal survival instinct explains why he just ignores game mechanics and powers through. His survival motto: if there's no way, make one. And back in the apocalypse, he remembers he was the best monster hunter there was. That explains his confidence and skill. He always finds a way. The protagonist lands a powerful blow, dismissing his opponent's strategies as inferior to his hard-earned battle knowledge from humanity's long war. The protagonist dodges swiftly, mocking his opponent's tactics as childish compared to his own refined countermeasures against fast attackers. With precise force, the protagonist strikes his opponent's leg, shattering their mobility and proving his superior combat strategy. The warrior's fist slammed down, crushing the beast into the ground. Dust erupted as its glowing eyes flickered in shock. The warrior's voice rang out, "Aim for the neck!" The weakness of humanoid monsters. With fierce determination, he declared, "That's where you strike." The warrior lunged forward, fist aiming straight for the monster's neck. His strike carried sheer power, closing in on its glowing eyes. With a forceful impact, quack, blood splatters upwards. Below, the brown-haired man reacts with wide-eyed shock. A man with brown hair reaches out to grab the arm of a large, muscular figure. The figure wields a chainsaw above its head. Text boxes indicate surprise. WH what? The AXE. And IT got stuck. Sound effects appear to emphasize the action. A monstrous figure, eyes glowing, roars in agony. A chainsaw is embedded in its shoulder. The sound of pain, garchwa, fills the air. A KWAH sound effect highlights the impact. A man with dark, spiky hair runs forward, face contorted in a desperate expression. Above him, a chainsaw descends. Behind him, a woman with white hair yells "OPPA" while brandishing a gun. The scene is filled with a sense of immediate danger and urgency.